Sober New Year's and dry January? Oh bother. I know, it's not for everyone. But if you clicked on this video, chances are you're either an alcoholic like myself, or you're simply sober curious without any addictive drinking tendencies. In which case, your reason for considering less alcohol consumption might be to detox from overdoing it during the festivities, or simply making a resolution to live a healthier lifestyle, whichever you relate to. This video is for you if you want some inspiration on how to avoid the inebriation trap. I've been sober one day at a time for 8 grateful years. If you haven't seen any of my other videos on sobriety, I will place all the links so they're easy for you to find, and also check out the info card in the corner. My first year sober, I wanted to blend in and raise a champagne glass with the rest of them, though mine was filled with sparkling grape juice. Traditions are beautiful when they serve you, but sometimes it's okay to question them, especially when they might be putting you in harm's way. When you're first trying out a life without alcohol, you might be surprised at your findings. Perhaps it's a lot harder than you imagined. Or you suddenly feel a lot more energized and you realize how much of a toll alcohol was taking on your health. But you might also begin to see drinking culture in a new light. Sometimes you make the painful discovery that your dearest friends were actually just drinking buddies and not real friends at all. Just be aware that it might have a profound effect on you, especially if you're more than just a moderate drinker, and even more so if you're a full-blown alcoholic. But then you probably already know some of this. So you've made the choice to stop drinking, at least for a little while. So how do you execute this plan? The first thing to keep in mind is people, places, things. This is simple, but not easy. You might want to consider taking some distance from the people that you drink with most and avoid the places that you drink at the most. So don't visit your favorite bars or any bars for that matter. And if you have alcohol lying around the house, you might want to hide them out of sight. Even a wine glass can be a trigger for some. I'd also avoid the 0% wines and beers. I've experimented with it before, but it's almost like my mind is tricking me into thinking that I'm still drinking, and it's just a little too risky for me as an alcoholic. It works perfectly fine for some alkies, but not me. And when it says on the bottle that it's 0.0% alcohol, sometimes it actually has 0.05% alcohol in it. And while that may not get you drunk or tipsy even, it's enough to trigger a craving in our brain and weaken our anti-alcohol immune system. Second, familiarize yourself with the acronym HALT. When we're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, it becomes harder to say no to our vices. So the key is to remain well rested, eat regularly, surround yourself with a healthy social circle, and avoid heated confrontations. Since you won't be visiting bars as much anymore, you will find that suddenly you have all this empty space to fill. Explore alternate activities, like bringing board games to social gatherings. Just get creative, because there is plenty of sober excitement out there. As for New Year's Eve, what works for me is to not pretend. Raising a glass filled with sparkling water just to blend in, or so as not to upset anyone, might seem honorable at first. But if you're still handling the paraphernalia of your substance of choice, in this case the champagne glass, then you're again just tricking your mind. I know it can be scary to be the odd duck out by announcing that you don't want to participate in annual rituals like that. But more often than not, your bravery will also inspire others to rethink their drinking habits. But that's just an added side bonus, inadvertently inspiring others. The main reason I now choose to not hold that glass is because I no longer feel ashamed about my alcoholism. And I welcome any conversation that it sparks when I tell people openly. But how do you stick with it when the going gets tough? When the cravings hit, try to remind yourself of the health benefits of drinking less. Yes, even that one glass of wine a day that we seem to have mixed feelings about. I will place a link to neuroscientist Andrew Huberman's podcast for you. Feel free to check that out if you want to know more about the harmful effects of alcohol. Step 3 is to think about whether or how you will let those around you know. One thing I can say is that the more you throw it out in the open, the less drinks you will be offered, and the more it takes the pressure off. Now, you also come across plenty of people who feel uncomfortable with your choice to quit alcohol. This is often for personal reasons, like maybe they wish they could quit as well, but they've struggled when they tried to stop in the past. Their reaction will be less compassionate and might even feel like an attack. What helps me through that is to remind myself that misery loves company. When I drank, I only surrounded myself with people who would be able to keep up with my drinking so that my alcoholism wouldn't stand out. A sober intruder would be a party pooper. It was my sick thinking that made it uncomfortable for me to be around sober people at gatherings. So I face any criticism with compassion, knowing full well that their qualms are not with me, but with themselves. And if we can't have a rational conversation about it, then I'll either change the subject or politely excuse myself. But plenty of people have gotten away with using the "I'm on medication" excuse, which can also be helpful if you don't want to get into the reason why you're not drinking at the moment. As a true alcoholic, to survive a sober New Year's, I make sure that I have my own ride out to whatever event that I go to. And I'll often go with someone who knows about my sobriety and whom I feel safe with. And I don't go to places where I know the discomfort will be too great, like loud, crowded bars that reek of alcohol and where there's no room to move around freely. My high sensitivity kicks into full gear, and I get something that might resemble a panic attack. And finally, I don't raise my glass at midnight. I hope this sparked some sober inspiration for you, and I'd love to hear your sober tips as well in the comments, or maybe things that you struggle with. Happy Sober New Year! Let her run wild. I give up. It's too windy. Like loud, crowded bars blowing away here. Step 3. Whoa. I'm getting so stung. Oh my god, this was a bad idea. To our health. There's a dog staring at me. I don't know who he belongs to. Second, familiarize. Boy, oh boy, oh.